My 31F mom, 61F, wants me and my husband, 30M, to visit for Christmas, but we aren't able to properly quarantine while waiting for test results and she won't take no for an answer. My husband and I live in New England and my mom lives below the Mason-Dixon line, a 9-hour drive between us. She has always been very demanding on my time. When I first moved up here, she wanted me home once a month. I used to comply because she paid for the flights and everything else when I was back, and I was a poor grad student who was always grateful for free food. That was 10 years ago. Since then, I've graduated, started a successful career, gotten married, bought a house, and got 2 dogs. Pre-COVID she acts like she is such a martyr for only expecting me to return home 4 to 6 times a year. But in the last 5 or so years she expects me to pay for all travel expenses. This is a burden time-wise, as well as financially. Most of my friends only live a 2-hour drive from their parents, and I see my parents more often than they do. My parents don't expect this from my siblings. They have even said that they see me more than my brother who lives an hour drive from them. If I could have it my way, I would go back twice a year. This is also hard on my husband since he is a bartender and can't really afford to take weekends off at a time. My family does not travel up to see me on a regular basis. If I'm lucky they will come once a year. Post-COVID we have only been back to see my parents once, in mid-June when things were looking better. Bars/restaurants where we weren't open at the time and I work from home, so my husband and I were able to quarantine for 2 weeks before/after, and since it was summertime we spent almost all our time outside. It probably wasn't the safest, but we tried to be good. I already explained to my mom we weren't going to make it for Thanksgiving, but she only accepted that because she thought we were going to visit for Christmas. As things get worse and worse, I just don't see how it is going to happen. My husband works in a bar still, and we can't afford for him to just not work for 5+ weeks, quarantining before/after. Previously he was on unemployment with the extra federal assistance. This time if there is a shutdown, we aren't sure we would get the extra federal assistance, and his unemployment would only be about $150 a week, not enough. Because of this he needs to work as much as possible right now so we can save. I've tried to explain this to my mom and she says to save money we could just then come live with her and my dad. I don't want to do this as 1. I own my home, I love my home. 2. Weird as it is, I love me in the winter. 3. I love to cook, it's my biggest hobby, and my mom has already said I wouldn't be able to use the kitchen if I lived with her. 4. They have 2 dogs, we have 2 dogs, and I don't want to live with 4 dogs. 5. Most important, she has severe boundary issues. If I am visiting, she expects me to spend every waking second with her. I am usually not allowed to visit friends, or if I am, they come over to her house. I can't handle dealing with that for an extended period of time. We actually used to have an incredibly toxic relationship, and that is one of the major reasons I decided to move out of state. Our relationship is a million times better with the distance. I understand that my behaviors are enabling for her, but in the past therapy hasn't helped and she refused to attend any further sessions. Despite all this, I do want a relationship with my mom, just one that isn't such a burden on me. I'm nervous about telling my mom that Christmas won't work. She will be upset and it will turn into huge family drama. In the past when I've tried to talk to her about her boundary issues she just gets incredibly defensive. So instead my family just sort of handles her, where we make elaborate plans and go out of our way to deal with her. I know it's not healthy, and honestly it's never going to be fixed at a large scale. I just want help with breaking the news to her for this year. I don't think I have the mental fortitude to deal with her breaking down about this. Also, as a side note, it is very likely if I tell her about my husband being unable to skip work, she will tell me that I should just come down without him. She hasn't been able to grasp in the past that I don't want to ditch my husband on major holidays, especially since his whole family is in Europe and we haven't been able to see them for over a year. Too long didn't read. My mom with boundary issues expects us to visit for Christmas. Due to COVID and finances, I don't see how this will be possible and need help breaking the news to her with as little drama as possible. Your aversion to drama is the lever your mom pulls to get what she wants out of you. It's crazy for you to think she would ever voluntarily decline to use it. You always come running and placating whenever she pulls it. Train her better, like you would one of your dogs that barks at thunder or something. Hello. I'm also 31 and my mother was just as imposing. That is until I turned about 26 and just stopped. You don't have to comply with this. It's a pretty ridiculous expectation that you come as often when you're so far away, as well as pushing this during a pandemic. I found it a little funny that you said you used to have a toxic relationship, but you have to understand this is still a toxic relationship. She controls you. You obviously stress about it, and you even explained in a post about visiting your reasons for not wanting to move in with her. It's almost as if you're trying to justify, as a successful adult and homeowner, why you can't move in with your mother to strangers on the internet. Does your mother have control over you financially? Does she pay your bills? I'm assuming not based on your post. She doesn't have anything over you aside from what seems like guilting to control. It isn't wrong of you to not go. It isn't wrong of you to keep you and your partner healthy and safe. A lot of times my mom would call family and tell them some wackadoo stuff about how I was treating her or what have you for not bending to whatever she decided I needed to be doing. I found pretty quick that those who didn't want to listen to what I had to say weren't really worth my time. You do not exist for the will and sake of others. Your wants are always valid. Respect yourself, respect your marriage, and don't let someone make you feel in the wrong for sticking to your ideals. If you ever want a stranger to talk to, my PMs are always open. Good luck. If I could have it my way, I would go back twice a year. I'm going to let you in on a secret, you can have it your way. Oh, she'll throw a tantrum. Maybe a few tantrums. But the world will not end if your mother is upset. I know that's hard to internalize. When we're little kids, we depend on our parents for everything and they're pretty much our whole worlds. As we get older that changes, but we already have the habits we formed as little kids. So there will be drama. But it will be worth it. I mean, if she was able to take news like this and think logically, you wouldn't be here asking how to do it without creating drama. I think you already know how she's going to react. You don't have to make her take no for an answer. You're an adult and no is your answer. She can't force you to come, and given the pandemic it's not a good idea anyways. When things normalize again, you can set up a better schedule of going to see her and times when you can afford it. The thing about boundaries is you have to stick by them no matter how much your mom pouts. Mom, I love you. I'm not doing this to hurt you. It's for the safety of my family and also keeping you guys safe too. When things get back to more normal we will come visit. For now the answer is no, and that's final. I won't discuss it anymore. Maybe offer to video call for an hour or so on the holidays so she still gets to see you all. No, I'm probably looking for a magic answer that's not out there. She will pout. She will complain to everyone in the whole family that I don't love her enough. She'd complain on Facebook and then try to bribe me financially. But you're right, I just need to say no and be firm. I already call her for at least an hour a couple times a week and then FaceTime her once a week with my husband. I guess we can offer to FaceTime for Christmas, but it probably wouldn't seem special to her, just the absolute least we could do. I bet you are getting more nervous hour by hour, lol. Just say no and end the conversation with I love you. She won't have a tantrum if you are not listening to her. My kids tell me the most frustrating thing in their lives was me walking away while they were having a tantrum. It's no fun tantruming without an audience. I am definitely getting more nervous and anxious as Christmas gets closer. Also, as these comments come in and I realize the inevitable is a tantrum, I think the best I can probably do is to confront it as far out as I can so it doesn't actually ruin Christmas, but a random Tuesday in late November or something. I'm 22, and I sometimes get this mood where I don't want to talk to anyone, even my BF, 27, and whenever he asks, I feel guilty saying it's nothing. I don't know if this is just a me thing, but I get this mood where I just don't want to talk to anyone. I'm in one of those mood right now, and my boyfriend always picks up my mood changes. He asked me are we okay, and we are more than okay even. We were talking via video call and he noticed how I was quiet. Told him it was nothing, which it really was. I just felt sad and contemplative, which has nothing to do with us. I just can't explain fully how I just don't want to talk and not seem like I'm hiding anything. He also had relationships before which the other person would say the same but was really hiding something. In my case, I'm not. Because I'm not. My anxiety spikes up every time whenever I try to explain, because really the reason is I just don't want to talk. I always end up stuttering whenever I try to explain how it's just that I'm sad or not in the mood, which makes it hard for me to do so, and like I'm hiding the real reason, which I'm not. Saying nothing seems really weird and like I'm trying to hide something, but I'm not. I just don't want to talk. I just want to lay in bed or just be alone. Help. Too long didn't read. I get this feeling of not wanting to talk and I don't know how to explain that the reason is nothing. When you are not feeling that way and are in a good place and feel like talking, explain fully, so when you're feeling bad you don't have to. I also agree with the commenter who said to give it a name. Give it a goofy name like Glob and say oh Glob's just on my back today or something when you don't feel like talking, and it's code for nothing's wrong, I just need this space. I don't think that's nothing. You need a little me time. That is something. I get in these types of moods sometimes too. I think it's normal. Especially if you are a little on the introverted side. I think you should sit him down one day when you aren't in that mood and explain to him exactly that, you know, sometimes you do need a little me time and it has nothing to do with anything he said or anything he did. Another thing you can do is to be a little bit careful and proactive when you feel this mood coming on. It is a bit of a stereotype that when someone says nothing is wrong but that they are acting distant and weird, that there really is something very wrong. So, it would probably help if you could catch it more quickly and explain you need some me time before you start to act distant, because otherwise, it does kind of throw off those vibes that something more sinister is wrong. Sounds like introversion. Try writing it down in long form. Don't say nothing. That will make him anxious and more likely to pester you, which isn't what you want when you just need some silence. It's totally fine to have moods where you don't want to talk. You don't have to tell him why they happen, or exactly how you feel. But you need to explain that they happen sometimes, it's not his fault, and explain what you need from him in these times. Come up with a name for these moods so you can just say I'm in the X mood and then you don't need to say anything else or explain anything. That's his signal to give you some space, but also he knows he doesn't need to worry and it will pass. I kinda understand your mood. But as far as hiding goes, I realized that there are things that I'm not aware or kinda hiding from myself. Like feeling lonely despite conversing with close people, or feeling that I'm not understood by those close people. There are other things too, but the thing is, if someone asks, I say I'm fine, that there's nothing wrong, cause in the moment, I'm really not aware what is wrong. I mean, if you're feeling melancholic, there's obviously something not right. It's okay to feel whatever you're feeling, but it's an indication that we're not aware of something important. I'm saying this partly because your boyfriend is really good at attracting such kind of women. Obviously, I can be wrong about you, but if you assumed for a while that there is something wrong, could you find a reason? Anyway, take care of yourself like you would of someone you care about. I, 26F, and my, 28M, partner don't share hobbies and it makes him sad. I have been dating my boyfriend for almost 4 years now and we have lived together for 2. He tells me he loves me for me and we are recently engaged, so I know he is committed to us. He loves fantasy and strategy games. Think Dungeons & Dragons, Catan, Risk, Magic the Gathering, etc. He also spends a lot of time playing multiplayer video games like Overwatch or Call of Duty. I am the opposite. If I play games, it's more along the lines of life, sorry, Yahtzee, etc. I do not play video games. The games I played as a child were on a Super Nintendo and platformer style. He wants me to enjoy his hobbies as much as he does. But I find the video games he plays incredibly stressful and unfun. I have tried several times to learn but it's never been enjoyable. I have played Dungeons and Dragons with him and tried to learn Magic the Gathering. I feel like I have put in an effort but he is still upset about it. He knows it was a forced effort and feels sad anyway. I recently saw him messaging an online gamer friend of his that he has had since before we even got together. They message every day and PK video games together. I fully support his friendship and have told him that, but I have always been a little jealous of it. In the past I had to ask him to not vent about me to her without even telling me there was a problem first. It was one of our biggest arguments. He told her he wished he could have engraved the engagement ring he got me with a Dungeons and Dragons reference, but that I wouldn't have liked it because I wouldn't have understood the reference. Her reply was how awesome that would have been, and he then reacted with a sad face. This made me feel so bad. Cannot make myself like his hobbies as much as he does. And I'm never sad that he doesn't like the same TV shows, books, or hobbies that I do. I could not interpret this exchange as anything other than I wish she understood me like you do. I confronted him about it but just got back everything I already knew. He's sad he can't play video games with me every day. He wishes I liked everything he liked. Then we could do so much more stuff together or be closer. He doesn't understand how this makes me feel. Said if that was so important, why didn't he seek out a partner who already liked all these things? But then he just says he is committed to me and loves me. I don't know how to describe how I feel, but it's terrible. Too long didn't read. My boyfriend who recently proposed to me is sad that we don't share the same hobbies and interests. Even when I tried to participate in his hobbies, he is sad because I don't end up loving them. It makes me feel bad that he wishes I was different, but when I try to talk to him about it, the conversation doesn't go anywhere. Wonder if he is actually happy with me, or if he would be happier finding someone who already likes all the same things as him if it's so important.